or let me just say ovulation is for female. I don't know if there's ever a man that has ovulated. Ah, I'm hilarious. But ovulation is for women. It's for people who menstruate, who have a uterus. So ovulation is simply the release of egg from a matured follicle. This happens at the middle of your cycle. It could vary, but if your cycle is 30 days, you're most likely going to ovulate probably between day 13, day 15, day 13, 14, 15, 16, around the cycle. Around that period rather. So that's when it's going to occur. But for most ladies, or for almost everybody, you do not know exactly when this happens. But then, God so good, there are pointers and certain things in your body that tells you you are ovulating. Ovulation lasts for 24 hours max because once the egg is released from this follicle, it stays in your fallopian tube for 12 to 24 hours before it starts to degenerate. So let's say ovulation is just maybe for a day, yeah, maybe for a day. And if you miss that, if you're trying to conceive and then you miss that, then you wait till next cycle. You need to know if you are ovulating or not so that you can be able to time your intercourse if you're trying to have a child, or you try to flee intercourse if you're trying not to get pregnant. So that's majorly why we will have to know, and also for you to understand your body, because sometimes certain things change in the human body or in the female body, and you do not know. If you are not conversant with your body, you would not know if anything is wrong. So it is also good that you know how your body works. But before you conclude that you do not ovulate, you must have exhausted all your options of tracking for your ovulation or testing for ovulation. But if you do not ovulate, it is there's no need to panic. There are medical interventions that can help you to ovulate. As a matter of fact, there are some women with some certain medical conditions that don't that causes them not to, or that cause them not to ovulate in during their cycle. Some women have what you call polycystic ovarian syndrome, PCOS, PCOS, PCOS. Some women have, so they don't even ovulate regularly, but there are some drugs, some medical herbs that you can get and they ovulate. So please, while you are watching out for these symptoms, don't watch out of fear or panic. Or please, there's no need to panic because it has been scientifically proved that stress, anxiety, and all these things have effects on the way your reproductive system functions. So if you are scared, that could even be the reason why it will not come. So while we are happy, let's move on. One of the signs of ovulation is changes in your cervical mucus. Now, when you are close to ovulation, your cervical mucus changes from the normal sticky white mucus. I just hope I'll be able to place the image here for you to see what it looks like. There's a slimy mucus like discharge that is very similar to egg whites. I mean raw egg whites. Another thing that you look out for is changes in your breast. Your breast can get fuller, it can be more sensitive or tingling. Just you know that there's changes, it will be fuller. When you touch it, you can feel some sort of okay, it can be painful to touch, also tender. That's what's tender. It's painful to touch, but not very painful, but you know that kind of pain. And that also happens when you are moving towards your period. But once your period ends and days after, you start to feel your breast being tender and fuller, it's a pointer that you are about to ovulate. Another thing you can look out for is changes in your body temperature. Once you are close to ovulation, when the LH luteinizing hormone, which we call LH, is about to surge or surges, your body temperature also goes high and it gets to its peak. You can just look at it using a digital thermometer that is used for basal body temperature. There are some thermometers that are used for that. If you walk into any pharmacy, you can ask, they would give you, you buy it.
Hey dear, thank you for hanging on with me till now. I am glad to inform you that though we have been involved in community health sensitization for over 7 years, we started building this online women sensitization community a couple of weeks ago. So kindly subscribe to be a part of this community. Like this video so that it could be recommended to all some other women that will benefit from it. Also, kindly ensure you watch this video to the end so as to prompt YouTube that we are doing great here. In return, I will always give a shout out to new subscribers at the end of each video. Welcome to the club, guys. Let's get back to business.
Another thing is a mild abdominal pain, popularly called metachemas. The pain is usually localized to one side of the pelvic, that is the particular side you are ovulating from. If you're ovulating from your right ovary, you will kind of feel some mild pain at your right ovary. This pain is usually dull and sometimes sudden. You just feel like boom, and then you're like, hi, what's that? Most times it's a pointer to ovulation. You feel that, and then sometimes this pain is accompanied by light spotting. You have ended your period and suddenly maybe 8 days after, 7 days after, or 10 days after, you start to see light discharge or brownish discharge, and then you are wondering that what is happening, my dear. You're actually ovulating. Another thing some people have actually experienced is this heightened smell. It's as if you can perceive just everything around you, just everything. And then I remember I walked into a store one time and the woman was attending to me. I met her at her spot in the store, and she was trying to sell something for me. It's on my street, so I talked well with her, and I was like, can perceive lime as if somebody is squeezing lime. It's so strong. And there was another woman just by the front of the store. I met her there, and she was like, no, why, who is perceiving that? I've been here since, and there's nobody doing that here. And the woman who owns the store that I was asking said, oh, you can smell, as in your sense of smell is very sharp. I actually squeezed lime here, but it's about probably 2 hours ago. How can you still perceive it? I said, well, I can perceive it. In fact, it's so strong to me. So sometimes your sense of smell is heightened, and then you're even wondering that how come I can smell everything, and then you joke about it, but it is also a pointer that you're ovary. Another critical or another major thing that I think we should also look out for, and then not just ourselves, but tell young girls around us, young girls. And if you're a young girl and you're listening to this, please listen attentively. Another key thing that happens when you're ovulating is that it heightens or increases your sexual urge, which is just a way of the body trying to procreate, because at that time you are fertile, you can get pregnant, so the body starts to tell the brain that, oh, let the man come close to you, let the man have sex with me, I want to be pregnant. It is normal, it is nature. So please, young girls, when you have this urge, try and try to learn how to walk around it. Take your mind off it. Do something else. Do things that makes you happy, and don't say, "Oh, I have this." It is just temporal. Once your ovulation hence the urge comes down. So it's just for probably 2 or 3 days. If you can just walk around it, you don't need to look for it. But I know your sense is you should, it's everybody. And then also it is normal, it is not sinful, because while we were growing up we heard stories. It is just normal for you to feel like that. What you do with it is what matters. Tell your friends that will say, tá bá ti ń ṣe mí báyìí, bá ti ń ṣe mí kinní kan, wá ṣe mí jìgìjìgìjìgì. So you understand, you have to just do something that will take your mind off it, and it doesn't make you a bad person if you feel this way. Sexual urge is normal, especially when you are, let me just say, especially when you're of the reproductive age, when you're within the reproductive age bracket. It is normal to have sexual urge. And within the reproductive age, if you don't have sexual urge, how will you have babies? No way. So please, let us teach our younger ones to watch out for these things and learn to cope it. Also, it is not at this time that you have to go and greet Uncle Dele at home. When you know that, you understand how you are feeling already, and then you say, nothing will happen, and then that's when your body might betray you. Seriously. So it is when you also have to be careful. You don't stay in close confines, because most men, even when they are trying to, if a man is trying to seduce you, and then you yourself naturally, your body is already seduced, what will happen? You will fall. So this is also a time to not put yourself in that kind of situation. And also for those that are married, if you want to have babies, this is just a time for you to leverage on it and make babies.